What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Kato's Reacts Facts. Today we're going to do a two-on-one. This one is "Do This to Keep Out Evil." It's by Snarled. It's going to be a very short one. That's why we're doing two of them. So I'm gonna react to this one, and there's another one after this I'm gonna react to. Both original videos will be in the description, or just in general. I might just link Snarl's channel. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna link Snarl's channel in the description. Y'all know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Without further notice, we're going to get straight to it.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Strange. Want to hear something scary? Do this to keep out evil. In the low country of South Carolina roam many ghosts and spirits. There are numerous ways to protect yourself from those with cruel intentions. But it's difficult to do that when you're the one who invited them in the first place. I spent most of middle school locked in my bedroom with music blaring. My loving home had turned into a battlefield. With my mom and dad arguing nonstop, I was so grateful when my grandma decided to move to South Carolina and live right next door to my parents. My escape to her house felt like a dream. The first thing she did when she moved in was to paint the front door and the ceilings a haint blue. Haint is a southern or gula variation meaning hunt. The blue color confuses evil spirits into thinking they're seeing sky or water and causing them to pass right over a house. Grandma always had cool stories like that to share. I would go to her house after school and she would welcome me with hugs and my favorite snacks. She'd tell me stories from when she was young, and afterwards we would watch TV together before I was sent home. During one particular bad night at my house, I snuck over to my grandma's to stay the night. She was sound asleep and I didn't want to wake her, so I tiptoed into her guest bedroom and crawled into bed. I tried to sleep but kept tossing and turning. I didn't know if it was because I wasn't used to the quietness or if it was just because I was sleeping in an unfamiliar bed. But either way, something felt strange. I didn't like the closet door that was just the opposite of the bed. It was a small door, barely even noticeable, given that the colors of the door matched the wall. It was filled with old clothes from my grandmother's youth. Just as I was about to fall asleep, I heard the closet door creak. My head popped off the pillow. I thought maybe it was just the clothes pressing against the door, but then I heard the handle turn. I flipped on my bedside lamp and I froze. The closet door was now wide open. Seeing that some clothes had fallen off the hangers, I realized I made a big deal out of nothing. With a shaky hand, I turned off the lamp, and that's when I noticed. Against the moonlight, I could make out the shadowy outline of a person. They looked like they were hunched over in the door frame.
Boy, you ever be like sleep in the dark and then you just look out and it just looks like a figure is right there, even though you know it's not right there. You just see it. That's what this is giving me right there. I used to hate this shit. You keep flicking the light on, and it's really nothing there. It's just like you're already in the dark, but it's like your eyes adapted a little bit, so it's kind of like the shadow or something behind it. I don't know. Or just maybe I'm in a haunted place.
I tried to turn the light back on, but I was frozen. I watched as a red, skeletal figure stalked towards me.
Damn, we all got the same sleep paralysis, Damon, though? Shit.
As it lurked over me, I could see it had no real face or features. When it climbed on top of me, in my mind, I was clawing, kicking, and screaming. But the truth was, I couldn't move a muscle.
I knew that was
It leaned over me, and we were face to face. Summoning all my energy, I opened my mouth and let out a shriek so loud it pierced my eardrums. But the creature just opened its mouth and took in my scream, drinking up all of my breath. I felt life start to drain from my body. I could barely keep my eyes open, and then suddenly, the room lights flipped on. I gasped for air and began coughing. My grandma ran to my side and held me as I wept in her arms. As soon as my mother discovered I was not in my room, Grandma had checked in to see if I was hiding in one of her rooms. I was too upset to even tell her what had happened. I wasn't even sure if it was real. I slept in bed with her the rest of the night. Morning finally came, and after a long rest,
I promise, when I first found out about sleep paralysis demons, it made me never sleep with my on my back again. Cause they said that's like the only position that can happen in. So from then on, I just slept on my stomach on my side, bro. That scared the shit out of me. I never wanted that to happen. I kind of sleep on my back now. Like when I start going to sleep, but I always wake up on my stomach. But like when I was younger, bro, I used to be scared shitless. I would not sleep on my back. I had to sleep on my stomach. I had to sleep on my stomach on my side, bro. I could not sleep on my back because every time I did, I thought instantly that some demon was gonna crawl on top of me or something like that. And apparently most stories it usually just only happens when you lay on your back. That's really why I was scared. I don't know. That shit there. I was not finna play. I don't play with demons, G. I don't play with demons.
I was able to tell her what I saw. Her gentle, warm face went pale and cold. It was the boo hag, she said, lowering her voice. She continues saying that some call it a feint. It's an evil spirit manifested over many years. They attack people at night, choking them and taking over their bodies by stealing their breath. It's my fault it attacked you, she said. Shaking her head, she never thought to paint the closet doors the color haint. I told her no, I was the one who snuck in without asking. If Grandma hadn't come in when she did, I couldn't even finish my thoughts. It was impossible to bear to think about what might have happened to me. That evening, I helped Grandma paint all of the doors inside the house. It made me feel safer, but it still doesn't protect me from my memories of that terrible night.
Mm. Damn. Y'all ever had a sleep paralysis demon, bro? I didn't. Shit. That was do this to keep out evil, bro. Hey, if you ever had one, you better paint them doors. We're gonna go to the next video and I'm gonna come right back. Alright, y'all, we back. This one is Whatever You Do, Don't Flinch. Again, this is by Snarled. Both videos will be linked in the description down below. The other one was about sleep paralysis demons. We finna see what this one is about. Like, comment, subscribe, man. We finna get straight to it.
I'm Stephanie Strange. Want to hear something scary? Whatever you do, don't flinch. Sometimes, no matter how many times someone tells you otherworldly spirits exist, you have to experience it for yourself to believe it. Unusual didn't believe in anything supernatural. She was someone who needed to see things to believe them. To her, ghosts and jinns were excuses that parents used to stop their children from going out after dark. Anisha worked as a receptionist at the hospital. When her shift ended at 9 p.m., she would be wired from the busy day and go out till dawn to party, stumbling home only after the sun had risen. She knew it was dangerous, burning the candle at both ends, but working in a hospital, she also knew you only live once. One night after her shift, a colleague suggested that they try a new bar that had just opened. It was further out of town, but Anusha immediately agreed. They took 2 separate cars, of course one Anusha drove. The hours went by as they were having fun, and it was soon 2 a.m. and time to call it a night. The cars took the same route back until they got to the Mohakali overbridge, the first ever flyover built in Bangladesh, where they parted ways back to their different homes. The road was deserted, not a soul in sight. Anusha didn't know if it was just because she was exhausted, but she felt the bridge had an eerie feeling to it. The wind whistling as they sped along. They were around the middle of the bridge when Anusha spotted something that caused her to panic. A woman in white running straight towards them. The passengers in Anusha's car shrieked in horror as the woman headed right for them, making no sign of stopping even after seeing the car. They had no way of stopping in time. Anusha flinched as the woman just stood there, waiting for Anusha's car to hit her. Anusha instinctively wanted to swerve to the side, and there was still time. It would be the rational thing to do to avoid an accident, but a voice in the back of her head urged her not to. She looked around and saw that swerving left or right would result in a collision with the railings, or even worse, crash through them and down onto the road underneath. So she did as her brain instructed and drove on, not caring about the consequences, not caring about anything but saving her life and those of her passengers. She drove straight into the woman, who did not even wince as the vehicle hit her. It was as though she was made out of thin air, and the car simply passed through her. Anusha looked into the rearview mirror in disbelief, only to see the woman still standing where she had been. But she turned around and saw her face was staring at them, yet there was no blood in sight. Then she disappeared, a collective hallucination, and the remainder of their journey home.
I mean, you could still like stop the car though. If you have enough time to swerve, you should be able to stop the car. I don't know. Maybe we don't know how close they were.
Was normal. The next day, Anusha was recounting her story at the hospital, telling a colleague about a woman on the bridge. In the middle of her story, she noticed a patient staring wide-eyed at her. He was a middle-aged man with a broken leg and arm, and his face was cut open and badly bruised. He stared at her with an expression of awe. Anusha couldn't help but be a little creeped out. When she asked the man if he needed something, he asked her anxiously, "You really encountered her too? You got away?" "What do you mean, me too?" Anusha asked hesitantly. "The woman in white," he said. Blood began to pulse through Anusha's body. She never said anything about the woman wearing white. Had this patient seen the same thing? He then took.
Well, I mean, if he asked you about it, clearly he's talking about the same thing. But I would get where she's coming from, because how do you know if I didn't even describe what it was? But more than likely, if you're telling your experience and someone's like, "Oh, you seen it too," then they've experienced the same thing.
Long breath. "There's a legend about the place," he murmured. "Many people see her. She's a vengeful spirit. Probably rightfully so. She met her end on the bridge where she was killed by a drunk driver. She only appears to people when they have been drinking. Now you know the people who swerve all over the road usually aren't thinking straight. They crash into the railing, sometimes flying over the ledge to their deaths. You should consider yourself lucky." The reality of what happened finally hit Anusha. The logical part of the brain told her he was crazy. It was just a coincidence. It just couldn't have been real. She didn't believe in ghosts. You have no proof.
You even seen her evaporated. What do you mean you don't believe in ghosts? Humans don't evaporate, dickhead. Like, I'm not talking about like common sense, bro. Even if you're one of the people that you have to see it, it's like, nigga, even when the proof is in your face, how do you just run away from it? You seen the woman, you passed straight through her, and then she poofed and disappeared when you hit her. Like, you didn't even hit her, nothing happened. You went straight through her. What more do you need for proof?
Anusha exclaimed as a bead of sweat trickled down the nape of her neck. "No proof?" he shouted back as he gestured to his broken bones and torn up face. "I'm living proof. I swerved to miss her, almost damn near died." Anusha looked at the patient in shock, realizing how fortunate she'd been. And with that,
You had to see a nigga be fucked up in the hospital to realize it was true. You was almost in that same position.
she never doubted the existence of the supernatural ever again.
Yeah, how could you doubt something you clearly went through, and someone else is telling you that they went through it too? Like, now you're in denial basically at that point. Oh, that's wild though. Um, I guess don't swerve. If you've been drinking, don't swerve. I don't know what to tell you. Just drive straight. If you hit them, you better stop. You know what I'm saying? But because it'll be a hit and run. But otherwise, I don't know. I don't know. That's a weird story. Uh, yeah. Again, those are two stories by Snarl. Uh, those are very interesting. Y'all tell me what y'all think about sleep paralysis, demons, or even ghosts in general in the comments, man. Without further ado, I'm gonna head out. Y'all be easy. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. Peace.